Today's episode comes to you straight from the Foundation Insurance Services podcast studio, your home for elevating voices, inspiring leaders, and building the community one conversation at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, we'd love for you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach even higher.
I find a lot of young people with a very, I would say, an illusion around what it means to be successful. And they think that success is linear. Like you do X and then you climb to the next level, then you go to the next level, you get to the next level, right? But you and I know that success is like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And they're successful people who went through hell and back.
Hey there, welcome back to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. I'm your host, Jän Simon. And this season, we're raising the bar, diving into the passion, purpose, and defining moments of leaders who don't just aim high, they live there. Big ideas, real stories. Let's get into it. Right, today on Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation, I'm sitting down with Boaz Gilad, an entrepreneur, performance strategist, founder of Zenith Clubhouse, and author of the Zenith Code. Boaz has lived the kind of story a lot of people chase. He built and took public a New York real estate company with more than $1 billion in assets. And from the outside, that looks like the finish line. But what makes Boaz's story so interesting is what came after. He began studying why successful people still plateau, why talent and ambition are not always enough. Today, his work is focused on helping leaders, founders, athletes, and high performers turn success from something mysterious into something repeatable through clear thinking, disciplined action, and systems that actually hold up in real life. So in this episode, we're going to talk about what it really takes to win the games that matter in business, in leadership, and in life. Boaz, welcome.
Thank you. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Let's have a conversation.
Well, I really appreciate it. I appreciate the chance to get to know you and understand your journey and where you went. Let's talk really quick, kind of a quick little fun story. I actually jumped into your website, and it talks about life being a game, and that you need to play it like a champion. So help me understand that mantra and how you came up with that.
Sure. So that's actually quite simple. Here's what you want to consider. First of all, what is a game, right? So a game is, when you look at sport, you look at anything like that, has a particular amount of time. No game goes forever, right? Has a scoreboard and has rules. 3 things, very simple. Life is actually built of a million games. And you can look, being married is a game. Has rules. Has a timeline. Now, you might be 90 years being married, but it still has a timeline, right? It has a scoreboard. Scoreboard in this case might be a little subjective, which is, am I happy, am I satisfied, am I fulfilled in my relationship, right? But it has its rules. And being single is a game too, and has its own rules and rule of regulation and all the. So when I kind of looked at life, I said, life is just a series of games. And we don't operate this way in many ways. And what I saw is that top performers ongoingly relate to life as a series of games. So I said, let's just create this, kind of framework before we go in, and then we can just again and again just look at those 3 things, which is just to repeat it: timeline, because everything comes to an end. Look, even you and I will come to an end. Timeline, scoreboard, and rules.
Well, it's fascinating, and I look forward to jumping into that deeper. But before we really jump into that, before we jump into the Zenith Clubhouse, the Zenith Code, take us back. Who is Boaz before business, before real estate, before all your success? Talk to me about where you came from, what life looked like as a younger self.
Sure. So just so I live in New York City.
Okay.
I'm 54 years old, so I've been here for 33 years.
Okay.
And I grew up, you can see by the name, I grew up in Israel.
Okay.
So I grew up in Israel, and I lived in Israel till I was 21. I served in the Israeli army. And after the army, I came like any other person with a big dream and a suitcase. And I came to New York to school. And I have never thought that business or running a public company will be part of my future. I actually saw myself as a kid, as a teenager. I saw myself as an actor. Actually, it's funny, but I
Wow.
met my wife shooting a Pizza Hut commercial.
No
In New York
kidding.
City, exactly. So she was sitting next to me. We were both doing stuff, but that's a whole different conversation.
That's awesome.
So yeah, exactly. So I came to New York with a big dream, and I went to a really great school called Stella Adler Conservatory, and I was an actor till I was 29.
Huh.
So business, and I studied philosophy in college. Business for me was something that was not. If you interviewed me when I was 20 years old or 23 years old, and say, "Hey, Boaz, well, how do you think about business?" I would say it's not for me. I'm a creative type. I'm an actor. I wait tables. I like to work hard, but I'm not a business person.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like my background, and the rest is history. But and then as you mentioned in the beginning, I took on real estate. We can speak about it, how it came to be, but I kept on growing it more and more. Survived 2008, and came out of it quite strong after that. One thing led to the other. I led my company to be big enough to go public, and I raised public bonds, and I ran a public company for almost 7 years.
Oh,
And
wow.
here's what you missed, because you're so nice, I think because you're from Arizona. What you forgot to mention, that it completely blew up in my face.
Oh,
So
really?
it was not a good ending. It was like, you hear the introduction, you think, oh my gosh, like this guy. But actually I had a hustle takeover over my company. And
Oh, wow.
about now almost 7 years ago now, I lost everything I had.
Oh, goodness.
So, so very different. So as your audience know, life is a roller coaster, and I've
Yeah.
experienced the top and I've experienced the bottom.
That's interesting because I would not have taken that from the surface, right? So when you were at the top, did you feel like you were successful, you'd hit it, you made it, you did everything you ever wanted to do before the world crashed in on you? Or were you kind of just scrambling and moving so fast forward without really looking around to take note of where you were?
No, so the question is I think there's a more complex answer to what you asked, because did I feel on top of the world? Yes, I did. I made a lot of money. I drove a really nice car. Had a very good lifestyle. So from that perspective, when one looks at a poster or a video of my life, it looks from the outside like extremely successful. Well, I was very successful, and I made a lot of money. But you asked, part of your question was like, did you feel like, this is like I'm at the top of the world? And I got to tell you that was not the experience. That even, or maybe especially in the top, financially, I felt that there was something missing there. Something that is not enough for me. Now, it's easy to compensate for how you feel when you make good money. Like you drive a nice Porsche, it eases, it kind of eases the landing, but I was not happy. I was
Gotcha.
working very hard, which I don't mind at all. I love working hard, but I working very hard, but full of frustration and lack of satisfaction and fulfillment. And again, because you take the family on vacations, because you have a really nice house, because you really have a nice car, you cover that lack of happiness with other things. And when my company blew up, I was in a crossroad. I could say, like the good thing about it is that even though I lost so much money of mine, investors, etc., I had a really good name. No one sued me. People realize it's like the economy and the way the operation, the public and the whole thing, right? So the morning after, literally, I had phone calls from people saying, I know you're not doing well, but we know who you are. Here's money. Let's go back. Let's
Wow.
we know how much experience it is. And look, your ego called you to jump right on the horse and say, I'm going to prove to anyone that I can do it. And by the way, I caught myself that what's the drive behind taking kind of like jumping back on the horse was not satisfaction or fulfillment or joy or happiness. It was about proving to others and to myself, but mainly to others, that I still have what it takes. And I was lucky enough to have people around me that were very close and said, just pause. And I could listen to what I really want to do. And I was very clear that real estate development, not real estate because I'm somehow a little bit involved in real estate still, but real estate development is not something I want to do again. And that was a very tough call.
I could imagine, because I think about myself, and I've been doing what I do. I've been in insurance for 30 years. And there's been a number of times where I've thought, I'd love to get out of this or what have you, but it's kind of what I know, right? It's what I do, and it's become a routine, I guess, if you will. How when you make that decision, or when you make that realization that what you've done is not what you want to do, how do you make that pivot?
That's, look, it's first of all, it's not easy. So I have all the compassion. When I work with clients now as a performance coach, I have all the compassion for everything you just said. The fear, the concern, this is what I know what to do. I've mastered to some level, right? But here's two things. One, let's go back to said about the game. The game is a timeline. Look, there's 90 minutes.
Yeah.
Then it's done. So consider that the game of life is going to be done. And not like a regular sport, you don't have a clock that you know how long it's going to be. It might be in 50 years. It might be tonight.
Yeah.
On the drive home.
Yeah.
So one of the things that I get really clear about with people is, do you really want to waste your time playing a game that you don't want to play? Because you're always going to play a game. Like I said earlier, being married is a game, being single is a game, being a parent is a game, being a business owner is a game. Like, it's all games, right? But consider that either you inherited a game or you're playing a game that you no longer want to play. And because you're so good in that game, you keep on staying with it. But that's insane. So yes, it takes courage, it takes challenge, it takes gut to go and change that. But first of all, why wouldn't you do that? You get one chance. That's the first thing. But the second thing is, look, here's what we do. And again, all I do is I work and develop top performers. And I have a Substack I write once a week about clients of mine, about how top performers operate. And one of the things I wrote about is that top performers sometimes operate in kind of a weird way. And what do I mean by that? Think about it. You're working on your body, and you're very good with shoulders and upper body workouts, right? And you have very weak, legs. And I come to you, and you're my coach, you're my trainer. And I said, look at my legs, look at my upper body. I'm very strong, I'm very big. And look, my legs are weak. What will the trainer say? Okay, let's do some squats, let's do some workout, let's do some running. Let's work on your legs, because that's the weakest part of your body, right? But here's what people do. They don't. They double down on what's already strong. So think about how ridiculous it is. Like, we can make fun of ourselves, right? That you come to me and you say, I really want a strong body. We analyze and realize you have very weak legs. And when I go back to you, I see you doing push-ups and pull-ups.
Yeah.
I was like, you're working on muscles already strong. So no difference in career. Sometimes we are so concerned about, or we get used to working on muscles that are already strong, that we forget that the ability to work out is something that is in us, and it's time to work something weak. So if you're good at a business, that doesn't mean you have to stick with it just because you're good at it. Your job is actually to implement the muscles you develop as a business owner to other areas.
This episode is made possible by our partners at Built Different Restoration. When water, fire, or mold damage hits your home or business, you need a local team you can trust to respond fast and do it right. Learn more at BuiltDifferentRestoration.com.
Shout out to Guidance Alliance, a trusted peer advisory group for business owners who want honest answers, not motivation posters. Small groups, weekly sessions, ideas that actually work. Visit guidancealliance.com to learn more.
Okay. That absolutely makes sense. And I think that it's interesting because using the analogy of the weightlifting, I can very much relate to. You see the guys that they can bench press hundreds of pounds, and so that's what they do every time they go in the gym because it looks good, right? Talk to me about how did you build the real estate company, and then how, I mean, it sounds like it had some to do with maybe the turn in the market with regards to some of that, we'll call it an implosion of the business, but how did you get, let's talk about how did you get into real estate first, and then what did it look like growing that business, and how did you get it to the point where it was a public entity? Because that's a pretty impressive feat.
Yeah. So first of all, look, like I said in the beginning, I'm a business person by luck. Yes, I collected a degree later on, but like I said, my background has nothing to do with business, right? And my business, as many businesses, there's nothing special about what I'm saying. Stuff came out of necessity. Like, as quote unquote any successful actor in New York, I was waiting tables, and my girlfriend then, now my wife, and I said, we kind of like started like look at our lives, and we said, look, when I do a show, I'm very happy, but in between we have to pay the bills and we have to pay the rent. Therefore, I'm going to wait tables. And I enjoyed waiting tables and I loved it, but still, there was no future, there was no ability to build equity and anything like that. And I literally, I remember I was exposed to Rich Dad, Poor Dad. If I'm assuming everybody read it, and if not, you should, even though it's by now is an old book. But it's one of those classic kind of Bible of entrepreneurs. And it kind of shifted my thinking, because I don't come from any money. I came from a different country, as I said earlier, without any money. And I said, okay, why don't I do something that's flexible? And literally, that's how I started real estate. I started by understanding, and actually, not to pitch it, because I don't know if it's still in print, but my first book, which I published with McGraw-Hill, was about that, understanding the market. There was a fundamental understanding of a market that I understood. And what was the market I dealt with? And that's, I think, the key to my real estate success, was that I was an actor. And there's tens of thousands of actors in New York. So I said, I'm going to do housing for actors by actors. And I was the first landlord, or I don't know the first, but the first I know of, that tailored the buildings, the leases, the everything for actors. Because why? Because I was so smart? No, because I knew that market. Yeah. Because that came from that, right? So I thought, if that I raised some money from friends, and someone went to college with my wife, and like people I met. We had very, very little money, and I bought one property, and I thought I'm going to buy another 2-family or duplex, whatever you want to call it, 3 years later, and one day maybe I'll have some equity. And I bought 18 buildings in the first 2 years.
Oh my gosh!
And because one led to the other, then people heard about it, and I was unstoppable. And I looked after a few months. I said, "Wow, I love what I'm doing. I'm really enjoying it, and I actually don't enjoy going to auditions anymore. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to call my agent. I'm going to say, look, I'm not going to auditions anymore. And if I miss it, I'll go back. I'm not going to make some big statements." And I never looked back. So yes, the crisis of 2008 was 9 years later, right? 8 years later, 9 years later. That was not what made me kind of like take it to the next level. But it was just about trial and error, and I was self-taught, and that's one of the most. I see my kids. I have 3 kids. Everything at the tip of their fingers. I used to go to Barnes and Nobles and get one of the big cup of coffee and sit there and read every real estate book I could, because I knew nothing about real estate. So how did I make it? I think learning and making mistakes, and learning and making mistakes. Keep on jumping on the horse as you're falling on your butt. And in 2008, bruised us badly, but I survived it. And then when it came back, the rest is history.
Yeah. So your work talks a lot about high achievers plateauing, not because they lack talent, but because they lack structure. What does that plateau usually look like in real life? I mean, when you're going through the process of talking to people about the plateau, what does that typically look like?
Yes. So there's two elements of plateau that are very different, but let's talk about both of them. One is there's an area of your life where you're a top performer, and then an area of your life when you're really not, and it drags you down. I'll give you an example. I think my first client runs a huge, successful logistic company in the Midwest. And if very wealthy guy, Everybody loves him. Balance sheet off the chart, great. Employees are admiring him. Incredible, right? One of those success stories. Really humble, great guy. And when I spoke to him for the first time, he said to me, and not even as a coach, we met before he was my first client. And he said to me, I'm such a loser. And I was looking at him, I was like, what are you talking about? Like in my mind, what is he talking about, right? Mm-hmm. And he said to me, it was the moment of being open, he said, I'm 300 pounds. I don't sleep at night, and I feel like shit. Forgive, I don't know if I'm allowed to curse, but but here we are. Yeah. So, and I was like, wow. And I was fascinated by how one person, the same person, can be a top performer in one area of your life. And then when we're implementing the muscles, let's call it muscles, that he uses at work, why is it that he cannot implement them in his fitness and health? And it was more of a question than an answer. I didn't have the answer yet. Mm-hmm. But I wanted to unmystify, I wanted to take apart that myth of what it takes to be successful. Because from a logical perspective, you should take the same tools as you use in your business and implement your health and fitness. Mm-hmm. And you know that it's not the case. You know many people. So that's one plateau, right? One plateau is like when it's like this concrete wall between one success of yours, or one I would call top performing. And by the way, I meet many people because I lead so many workshops, and they say, well, I'm not really a top performer. I guarantee that if I speak with anyone, they are a top performer somewhere. Whether as a parent or a significant other or a business person or athlete, there's one area of your life when you are just an inspiration for others around you. And it seems easy to you, and it doesn't seem easy to them. So one plateau is like when you don't know how to kind of spill over the magic into the next bucket. Mm-hmm. The other plateau is where exactly what you pointed to earlier when you kind of talked about your business a little bit, where you hit a particular level of success and your toolbox is empty. So you ran out of, and you're honest enough with yourself to say, look, I've done well. I've got to wherever I got. But either I want more, which is fine. You don't have to, but if you want more, you ran out. You no longer have the vocabulary to work on the next level, right? Mm-hmm. Or you said, look, I'm losing my momentum here. I hit this thing and I'm losing my groove. I'm losing my ability to grow. And by the way, this is never status quo. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that, status quo is something that humans invented. Yeah. In the universe, the entire universe either shrinks or expands. Look at planets, trees, humans, everything. It either shrinks or expands, right? Mm-hmm. So consider that you're never stuck in one place. You're either shrinking or expanding. So when people come to me, they're like, look, I'm shrinking.
Yeah. How do you then help somebody get over that hurdle? Because I can imagine that is a very defeating space to be in, where it becomes very unmotivating to want to move forward in whatever it is. And I think, whether I think some people might see it as a laziness where, okay, now you're not working as hard because for whatever reason. But how do you help people move past that space?
Yeah, so I can't. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the reason why I can't is because it has to come from you. I will, and I'm going to answer, so I'm not trying to ignore the question, far away from it. Mm-hmm. But I can only help you to the size of how badly you want it. I can make you want it. So first of all, there's so much compassion in the work we're doing. Mm-hmm. So if you're happy or satisfied with where you are, I'm not here to push you forward. Right? Yeah. If you have a business, it's like, look, I'm getting my bills, I'm getting my few weeks a year vacation, I'm happy. First of all, don't waste your money with me. But also, I'm a performance coach. I'm elevating performance, right? Mm-hmm. So one is, I can't really help you if you're not there, right? But people do have a drive or an interest or hunger for the next level because they see something better for them, bigger than them, more for them. And the moment they see it, then the confrontation happens. Because a lot of us get inspired, right? We get really excited, we get inspired, but then we're like, oh my gosh, but I don't know what it takes. Or, oh, it's going to take so much work. Or what other conversation? Or people say, oh, well, the economy, it's a bad time to do it. Like they either look for exterior reasons or interior reasons to explain something. And that is when I jump in. That's when actually we walk through the process. And the biggest thing is we get really clear about what's important to you and about are you willing to do the work. Because a lot of people, they live in La La Land, in fantasy. Look, you want the six-pack, but you're not willing to do the work.
Oh, but I think about it all the time.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is so great what you just said, because that's exactly what people do, right? And I just want you to be happy. Look, if you're sitting on the beach and you have a one pack, and you're happy, I'm happy for you. But if you have a six pack and you're happy with the six pack, I'm happy for you too, because it's two different games. You remember we spoke about a game. It's two different games, and there's no one better than the other. But the problem is exactly what you pointed to, which is you sit there and have a one pack, like a beer belly, thinking about the six pack as if thinking about it will make the six packs appear.
Right.
And that's, I think, the most confronting conversation. The confronting conversation is actually, are you willing to do the work it will take to have that six pack? And if you're willing to do the work, first of all, let's get very clear about the work that needs to be done. And actually, many times, it's actually not as hard as you think it is.
Yeah.
But when you're ready to do the work, are you willing to do it? And therefore, let's create the infrastructure and the guidelines and the guardrails and all that stuff that you need to be successful.
This podcast is powered by Above Par Network, where networking isn't about awkward mixers or endless pitches. It's about genuine relationships, real opportunities, and having a good time doing it. If you're ready for networking that actually works, visit AboveParNetwork.com.
This episode is powered by 5 Leaf Financial, expert accountants, tax preparers, and CFOs who help you make smarter financial choices. If you want peace of mind around your finances, visit 5leaf.net.
Do you think it's more important for somebody to be motivated or have the discipline?
Yeah, I think that's a really great question, because I hear that question or version of it very often when I speak with people, and I can't tell you how dismissive I am about motivation. I think motivation is actually a curse. And what do I mean by that? Look, we do need motivation, and motivation is important, but I think someone figured out a while ago in like self-help books that motivation sells very well. And there became a culture of motivation. And so we have shorts and reels on social media, and we have books, and we have lectures, and we have all things about motivation. And motivation is lovely as long as you understand what it is. And what it is, it's a sugar. It's sugar rush. You're tired, you take a cup of coffee, or you grab some chocolate, and you have a little kind of burst of energy. It's not sustainable. Inspiration is the same thing. You get this like boost of like, I'm going to do it, I'm going to make it happen, and then you go back to the couch.
Yeah.
And again, nothing wrong about it. By the way, I meet a lot of people in seminars, especially when I'm guesting like one of those weekend work, like one of those conferences, right? People who are addicted to inspiration, that they go from one seminar to the other. They want book after book. They walk into their house, and they're full of books about inspiration. And how many of them the work? Very little. And by the way, their businesses were built on that. Gyms.
Yeah.
Gym over-register in January, right? Because it's New Year resolution. Yep. They know they have a capacity of 500 people. They register 700 or 1,000 people. Knowing that by March, maybe 50% are going to show up. By June, it's going to be empty, and the circle's down again. And by the way, that's why gyms don't let you sign for 1 month. Because they know that inspiration is short-lived by design. So they're like, I'm not going to get you money for a month because in February you're going to wake up, it's going to be cold outside, not where you are in Arizona, but in New York. There's nothing inspiring about going to the gym in February, and it's hard work. So therefore, I'm going to sign a whole year from you and take money from you, knowing that you're not going to show up. So going back to what you asked, discipline is fundamental part of what we need.
Yeah.
And my job is to develop your disciplines. Because some people naturally are born with discipline abilities. Your childhood, your the way you're raised, upbringing, and the way you saw your parents working, or the culture you grew up in, that's natural, right? But a lot of us don't.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel, taking that a little bit further, motivation, discipline, and I'm going to say processes and procedures, kind of rolling it into a business thought process, and maybe a little bit creating habits, which would be the discipline aspect of it, I guess. What do you see some of the behaviors of successful business owners and entrepreneurs that you've worked with, that they have those beliefs, feelings, actions, or are there limiting ones that you see kind of regularly in those individuals that it's like, hey, if you could tweak this, slight changes that could make you better, more successful, however you want to look at that.
Yeah. So there's quite a few that show up across the board with successful people. And when I say success, is whatever success means to you, right? It can be health and fitness, can be business, can be anything like that. One of them, as we just covered, was discipline. The other one is practice and lack of giving any way to inspiration. If you look, there's nothing inspiring about going to the gym. I really doubt. Maybe once in a while, but who cares? Go, show up, lift weights. That's it. I don't care how you feel about it.
Yeah.
Because what in your mind is two things. One is the results. So when summer comes and you're going to be in a swimsuit, you're going to look really good and you're going to feel great about yourself. Okay. And second thing is, and I think it's 1,000% more important, is yourself as a top performer. This is the best, most satisfying, delicious experience. Is you experience yourself as a top performer. You're like, no one can mess with me, right?
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that at the same time I see with clients who are successful is knowing you don't know. Understanding that you are limited with however you're good at. I mean, look, there's a reason why all successful people have coaches. Generally, it's the middle that doesn't have coaches.
Gotcha.
It's because people on the bottom deal with a lot of issues that can't even get them to what's possible. How can I imagine a great life, right?
Yeah.
People on the top, NBA players, sports, business, politicians, anyone you can imagine. You choose whoever your audience chooses their inspiration, someone they look up to. They will look at them and say, "Yeah, this person has a coach." I guarantee you. I really have never met. I'm sure there are, but I've never met someone who is crazy successful without a coach. You might not know about him or her, but anyone will have a coach, right? Because they understand that they don't know everything. Because they understand that even on the level that they're playing on, there's a new thing that can be provided for them. There's a new angle that can be shown to them. Because the coach sees things differently. Because they're expert in a particular thing. They understand something different than the experience of being in it, right? So one of the things I love about top performers is that you don't know everything. And willing to put aside your ego for the sake of expertise. So if you really want to master something, you have to put your ego aside. Because if you think that you know everything, then why would I listen to you? You don't. I know everything. But that's that's exactly the key to mediocrity.
Yeah, right. Holding yourself in spot because you think you are better than or know more than everybody else.
Yes, and by the way, even if you're the best, you're best for a very short period of time. No one is best forever.
Yeah.
So look, I thought about. I read that LeBron James spends over $1 million on his body a year.
Wow.
Trainers, massage, therapies, all that. $1 million, right? Okay, it's nothing for him. But now the guy is not the best player anymore because he's older.
Yeah.
So even when he was the best player in the NBA, if you think he was the best player, there's no doubt maybe he's number one, number two, number three, it doesn't matter. But look, we know he was like an Uberman of NBA, right?
Mm-hmm.
He understands that it's not forever.
Yeah.
So even if you experience the peak, the zenith, it's a moment.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, zenith is a state of mind. It's not a place to be because it's going to go away.
You talk quite a bit about success and what that is. Has your version of success changed from where you were previously in your real estate, we'll call it your real estate life, versus where you are now today? I mean, has your view of what that is, has it changed or is it the same?
No, it's in my case, actually, it's 180 degrees. It's completely different, right? It's like when I was at the peak of my public company and running a large real estate company, success for me was, if you kind of measure the success, it's how many assets I had, how much money I had. Mm-hmm. That was the key to success. Yes, I had small successes. Is my employees happy? Is my investors happy? Et cetera, et cetera. But it boiled down to how much money do I have, right? Yeah. Money right now is not a sign of my success. Is money still important for me? Of course it is. Mm-hmm. I'm not some, like hippie, like money. Like, no, money is important. I live in New York. Right. I live good life, right?
Yeah, right.
But it's not a sign of success for me. So in my case, it's satisfaction. It's being proud of what I do. Is being fulfilled. Mm-hmm. And by the way, to go back to the beginning of the conversation, if you interviewed me in the mid-20s, success will be for me to be on a Broadway show, or doing a TV spot, or booking a movie. Success, the target moves all the time. So one success is, it's almost insane to say. I think someone says, no, I have one goal only. If you interview them 5 or 10 or 20 years later and they still have the same goal, it's kind of, I would say, sad. Because they're not the same person, they're not the same age, they don't have the same wisdom or drive. Not good or bad. There's no judgment in what I'm saying, but yes, I understand some people say, he's 17, he's like, I'm gonna get MVP. Okay, fine, no problem. But the moment when either you don't get it or you do get it, you realize, okay, now what? Or thrive it. But if you want to be MVP and you're 43, that's kind of ridiculous, right? Because you're not going to.
At this point, give it up.
Exactly. Yeah. And what a waste of time. You wasted 15 years trying to get something. What a waste of time.
Right. Talk to me about Zenith Clubhouse and what that is. From my understanding, the idea is helping people exceed their perceived limits. So talk to me about what you do and what the Zenith Clubhouse is.
Yes, so just Zenith Clubhouse is kind of like the company that holds the different things we offer. So what I do is I do one-on-one coaching with executives and everything. I have a lot of workshops that I run. We do from keynotes where I just came back from Kansas and did like a keynote to insurance company, all the way to workshops with companies that wants to kind of like create new energy, and they maybe are third generation business and they need someone to come and get them back excited about business. Or some technology is coming, AI or something comes their way, they don't really know how to deal with it and they want to change their mind. I'm not an AI expert, right? But I can speak about what will it take to be a top performer in a changing market, right? All the way to the Zenith Clubhouse program, which is a 3-month program where basically we say to you, look, I'm going to change your life in 3 months. I guarantee it, literally guarantee, like here's your money back if you don't experience it.
Wow.
And because we see it's working. And by the way, we fire people from the program also because it's a very intense program. So sometimes, to the conversation we had before, it's kind of like like CrossFit. Some people love it and are obsessed by it. Some people, it's too much for them, right? So I'm not saying we are as intense as CrossFit, but sometimes I see someone after a week and I say, why are you wasting your money with me? You're really not committed. You're saying you're committed to that 6-pack, but you're not doing the work. So I'm not. Don't here's your money. Don't waste your money. Go have a beer and enjoy it. Like I don't want you to suffer that. Really, like there's no judgment here. So that Zenith Clubhouse is basically just, for me, why did I call it Clubhouse? I called it Clubhouse because, I said to you in the beginning, after my real estate collapse, I was really curious and I started kind of shop around to all those ideas. I was teaching at NYU and gave lectures and everything, but I was like, I want to figure out. And then I met this person I told you about earlier, and I got really curious about what it takes to be a top performer. So I started to create those pilots conversation with very successful people I know, and say what's common. That woman who ran 5 Ironman, and that guy who runs $1 billion company, and that person who opened a chain of coffee shops. And what commons, even though you look at them and they're different ages and genders and all that stuff, right? What common to all of them? And that was Zenith Club. I was like, let's get a club where people are top performers or want to tap into the top performance ability.
Yeah. How does that work? I mean, I'm a business owner. Let's say I come to you and I'm a small business, but I'm kind of stuck at a plateau where I'm stuck at a ceiling, so to speak. And I know where I want to go, but I'm not sure how to get there or what to do. Do you work through that as a business coach?
Yes.
Is it more individual motivational stuff or
So
what do you do?
Yes, thank you. So it's actually, there's 2 options, right? One is we have to have a conversation and saying, are you willing to change, transform, alter your company? And I'm not saying change the business, but one of the things we work a lot with is the team around you. Mm-hmm. So consider that one of the reasons you're not going to the next level is because the people around you are not set to win also. Going back to the sport analysis and success analysis we kind of talked about earlier. Yeah. There's an entire team around you. Even if you're a tennis player, a single tennis player, it's not like you're just playing a sport that has a team, right? Mm-hmm. There are coaches and trainers and massage therapists and chefs and everything around you that make sure you win, right? So one of the things is like, okay, so do you want to transform you with the team around you? So let's tailor a program for your business only. Or you as the leader of the company or CEO dealing with something personal. Like you need to, first of all, get the engine going and then you're going to bring the rest of the team with you, right? Mm-hmm. So if it's you personally, I'm just going to add you to one of our 3 months program. Mm-hmm. It's tailored and I'm available and my coaches are available, all that stuff, right? But if it's about when we have a conversation, you say, you know what, actually, now there's 2 challenges. One is you're lacking tools. That's the good news, by the way. Mm-hmm. That you actually admit that I'm lacking tools on the next level. Mm-hmm. And again, nothing wrong with what you have. Like, look, when I read a very successful company, and then I had that dream to take it public. And I had to send my entire accounting department home. And they were wonderful. They're hardworking and good and committed. I took care of them, but I had to send them home. Why? Because they're not sufficient to be a financial team for a public company. Public reporting is a whole new level. I had to bring a CFO that was 300-400% more expensive, literally 4 times more expensive than the controller I had before that, right? But that's the game I want to play, right? So one of the things, let's get clear about the game you want to play. If you want to play, look, if you want to play basketball on the weekend with your buddies, that's one level of a game. Yeah. If you want to play for the NBA or D1 if you're a college kid, that's a different level of play. Yeah. None of that is better than the other. I'm not telling you should be an NBA player, but you got to get clear. And if you got to get clear, do we need to get to work and tailor a program for your company, whether it's for a few days or for a few months, or do we just get you going and get you tap into the top performance element of your life?
Do you do like an intake interview with individuals to determine whether or not they would be a good fit? I mean, you've said that you've had clients you've had to just say, hey, obviously you're not bought into this. And I can see somebody having the motivation out of the front, but not the discipline to be able to take it further.
Yes. I love what I do. I love making money for it, and I'm not here to make money. Yeah. Therefore, I do not want to take your money if it's not a fit.
Yeah.
There's no
powerful.
point. Look, there's no point of it. I don't need it. Again, even if I needed the money, one of the things I took on when I left real estate is to have a very high level of integrity for myself. And I must interview you, and I must see that you're fit to the program, and I'm a fit for you. You might not like me.
Yeah.
So why would I waste your time and my frustration and look, I have clients who I work with for a while, and they're on call with me. They call me when they need something, or I have like an agreement with them, and I am ruthless with them, but very compassionate. Ruthless. If you listen to those calls, and you will not be able to, you're like, holy smokes, how he talks to me. And it comes from pure love. Because I've been working with them for a while, and I know that right now they're in a funk, or they are dealing with some blind spot. And as their coach, I can pull them out of that blind spot.
Gotcha.
Look, when I coach, what do I really do? Think about it. All I do is, and not to discredit myself, but really,
right.
But what do I do? I add. Think about you drive a semi-trailer. All I do is I'm adding more mirrors around you. So if you drive like the old time when people used to use mirrors and not just cameras, right? There was there was a blind spot. You move to the left lane and you hit a car because you're driving this huge semi-trailer. And there wasn't the sensors there to beep when you move to the lane, and you thought there was no one there. You wouldn't move to the left lane if you knew that there was a tiny car driving there. That would be stupid or crazy, right?
Yeah.
It was a blind spot. Here I am. I show up with a bag of mirrors, basically. And I'm installing 6 more mirrors and sensors around your semi-trailer. And now you can drive better, faster, more efficient with no accidents because I installed those 6 sensors and cameras and mirrors. That's what a great coach does.
Big thanks to Maritim USA for sponsoring the show, helping businesses simplify payment processing and reduce unnecessary fees. If you're tired of overpaying to accept cards, it might be time for a better option. Learn more at maritimusa.com.
This episode is supported by Rocks Ink Calligraphy, where every piece is created by hand and designed to be remembered. From custom calligraphy and engraving to live event personalization, Rocks Ink turns meaningful moments into lasting art. Learn more at rocksink.com.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you, just speaking to you from a passion perspective, I can sense the passion, and I love the fact that you speak a language for me that is very dear to me. And I talk to people all the time when I say, look, I'm not the right agent for everybody. I'll answer your questions. I'll tell you what I think. At the end of the day, if you don't like me, go someplace else because you can find somebody else. It's like, but so I appreciate that you're willing to walk away from business, and not sugarcoat it for people to keep them around, and be able to say, look, obviously it's not the right fit. You're not going to get the outcome if you don't put the input. So
yes, there's 2. One is I'm not selling you. The product is you. So if I don't sell you the right product, you will be disappointed. The second thing is you have a choice. We all have a choice in life. I choose, and it seems like you're the same, I choose to come from generosity, not from scarcity. I'm not the used car dealer that if I don't sell you something, then you're gone forever. And by the way, that world is disappearing. Yeah. With transparency and internet. Do you remember the old, like when we were kids, something that we used to go to with our dad to get a car, and the guy, whatever, he put some, margarine on the engine so it doesn't make noise so he can just sell it to somebody. One of those stories about, they don't exist anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because now you go online and you look on Google and you're like, they have 3 stars. I'm not going to walk into this dealership, right? So actually the world of scarcity and grabbing someone for one shot is disappearing anyway. And beyond that, why? If you're again, going back to the conversation about a game, you have one shot. Yeah. Why won't you play a game you're proud of?
For sure. For those out there that feel like they have more and they're stuck in their spot, how would they find you? How would they start that conversation with you to see if working with you would be the right fit?
Yeah. So first of all, thank you for asking. And I'm always available. One of the things I took on is to respond to any person. Sometimes, I go through months when I meet thousands of people, right? And there's not one person who doesn't send me a message on LinkedIn or on social media that I don't respond to. So I want to make sure that I get back to you. Will I give you everything you're looking for? I'm not sure, because either we're not a fit or it's costs more than what you thought. But if you want to reach out, you have a question, you want to have a short conversation, I took on being available because I want to make an impact. Because my game, by the way, we spoke about games, my game is when I put my head on the pillow and I'm no longer here after that, whether it's again in 50 years or tomorrow morning, I want to know I was fully used. You know? So therefore, I'm always available. So most people find me either word of mouth, or they go to my website, boazgilad.com or zenithclubhouse.com, or literally like LinkedIn. They will send me a message. This woman, I'm doing an event in Italy. She reached out to me on LinkedIn. She said, I'm working with this international company and we're really looking for, would you talk to us? And I talked to them. I said, here's what I offer. Will it fit for you? And we're not sure they come back. Whatever, I'm always available. And the good and the bad, for me, it's good. But the good news is that we're all available with social media today and phones and everything. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story. Is there anything that we should know about Boaz or about Zenith that I haven't asked you that you'd care to share with us?
Here's something I do, and I do for myself. And I'm telling you that not to brag about it at all, which I will, but actually as an invitation for your listeners. And I write a weekly Substack article.
Okay.
And it's not like I have 1 million followers. I have a few dozens. How do I do that? I do that because first of all, I'm fascinated by what it means to what it takes to be a top performer, but also because it was my weakest thing. So I am, you'll tell me, but I think I'm a good speaker. I get great feedback about the coaching. I'm successful in perspective, but someone who's been, I'm a foreigner. I didn't grow up here, and English is a second language for me, and all that stuff. Writing was not. I'm dyslexic, to make it even worse, right? So nothing about writing was comfortable or easy for me, and I took on being a writer. So I started practice, and I'm going to write Substack for myself, not for others. And then it's picking up. So as an invitation to your listeners, please read the articles, give me feedback, come back to me and say, I strongly agree with what you said, or this is BS and I don't agree with anything you said. Let's have a dialogue about what actually it takes. I say often, and I'm not saying it in a modest way, I don't know the answer. I know to ask very powerful questions. I don't know what top performers need to be top performers all the time. But I do know the questions and practices that work with all those people I work with. So in that articles weekly, I can struggle and share and put a spotlight on elements of top performance. And that's something I would love to people to kind of give me feedback about.
And is that on your website?
It's actually on Substack.
So it is on Substack. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So just find Boaz Gilad on Substack, and
Okay.
And that's where it is. Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go out and search that out. So, and then you had mentioned that you have a podcast as well.
I do,
I believe.
Yeah.
What's the name of what's your podcast called?
Yeah, so it's called Unmask. And here's why I created. I don't do it as often as you do, but here's why we created. We created a podcast because as I was meeting with people, and especially young people, I teach in universities often. And I have a course in the fall at NYU also. I find a lot of young people with a very, I would say, an illusion around what it means to be successful. And they think that success is linear. Like you do X and then you climb to the next level, then you go to the next level, you get to the next level, right? But you and I know that success is like a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And they're very successful people who went through hell and back, lost everything, including myself, lost everything I had.
Yep.
And each part of the roller coaster is connected to the other. So you know how you go, let's just assume you go on a roller coaster for the first time in your life. You've never been to one. You know, you sit on it and in the beginning you're like, oh, that's kind of boring. I'm just climbing very, very slowly up, right? But if you got to get to the top to scream as you're on the way down and then go up again and collect momentum. So the reason I created the podcast is because I want to unmask success. So I brought very successful people, and I keep on bringing. Every time I meet someone who's very successful, I say to them, "Hey, come into from jazz musician to major politicians to business people," and I want to remove that myth of what does it take to be successful.
I love that.
Because it's really a dance. It's one step forward, 2 step back, 3 step forward, half step back. And that's something that it's a dance. And as we dance with someone, especially if you're learning to dance, you're going to step on someone's toe.
Exactly. Stop the bloody nose.
Exactly. Exactly. Elbow someone.
Pack up the busted ribs. Yeah. It's the highs are high and the lows are extremely low. So,
and it's never as high as you think, and it's never as low as you think. That's one of the things I learned.
When you're in the low, it can suck really bad. I just tell people, I said, you just got to take a step. Just focus on one thing. Just one thing today. Whatever you can control, take that step moving forward. So I love that. I will check out your podcast as well. So I appreciate it. Well, hey, Boaz, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing a bit about yourself and sharing about Zenith. I'll definitely get that linked out when we get the podcast out, but I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's Boaz Gilad, and I went above and beyond.
We truly thrive.
Before you go, if you want marketing that actually moves the needle, check out lzrmarketing.com. Expert marketing solutions for your business. From websites and social to ads that convert, Liz and Riley help you stand out and grow. That's LZR Marketing, laser focused on your success.
Like, share, and subscribe to Above and Beyond, where excellence meets elevation. Elevate your mindset, one episode at a time.